I think the whole concept of the mind has changed from maybe, I don't know, maybe 5, 10 years ago. It was you go and see something about your mind if you've got an issue, and that still happens. If you've maybe got depression or an addiction or something, and we need to make sure that's catered for, absolutely. But more around the stuff we were talking about. Okay, how do I elevate performance? How do I get the motivation to go again? We'll often talk about, like, when you win, you enjoy it. You go to bed that night, you get up the next day, you get back to the grind.
Mm.
When you lose, you're disappointed, you go to bed, you get up the next day, you get back to the grind. Like,
Nice.
that's it. And, like, it's, can you sustain the grind? And that is the mind. That is tapping into long-term motivation, long-term pursuit, trying to master your craft, trying to attain some form of vision that's always, you're never there. Like, you're all, oh, that's on it. It's always, you're always pursuing something, and that's hard. And I think that's what, when you start some of those names I mentioned before, that's why they're in that bracket, aren't they? There ain't many people like that. It's probably a bit like the boxer, isn't it? The boxer who becomes world champion and he defends it for 2, 3, 4 fights, but then he's a millionaire. He's got the big house. He's got everything. But that next guy coming, he's got nothing. He's off the street. He's hungry. So how does that? The greats keep that hunger. They keep training. They keep training like the underdog. And I remember a good story that probably summarises this was a few years ago now. Must have been around, might have been actually preparation for the 2015 World Cup. It must have been around then sometime. Conrad Smith came into my office at the Hurricanes, and good man, Conrad, like top man. And he was back in Wellington. It was like a down week between All Blacks games, and it was a classic Wellington's winter. It was howling, southerly, freezing cold. Like wind was going sideways and up the way. It was horrible. And Conrad was, like, aerobically probably one of the most impressive athletes I've worked with. So he came in and goes, "Oh, Davie, have you got a stopwatch?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, here's one here. What are you up to?" And he goes, "Oh, I've got a running session from Gilly, the All Blacks trainer, to do." He goes, and he laughed. He went, "Do you want to come and time me?" And I looked out the window and I was like, "Nah." And he was like, "Oh, give me the stopwatch then." Off he went. Saw him about an hour later come back in, saturated, freezing cold, gone out and done his running session by himself. Like, nobody would have known if he didn't do it, or he could have jumped inside on a walk bike or a rowing machine or a treadmill, but nah, like, he knew. And I think that's the difference, isn't it? It's like, it wasn't about the wind and the rain and the cold. It was about, this is who I am. This is like my identity. I'm chasing this. Why am I going to let the weather stop? You could just tell. And I was like, man, that's cool. Like that. Love that.
No shortcuts, no excuses.
Exactly. And then, why is a great All Black for, I don't know, nearly 100 test matches, 10 years probably, because of that.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't the biggest guy, he wasn't the fastest guy, he wasn't the most skillful guy. He had a big engine. He read the game well, but he did the work. And, that's the mind driving that work ethic over the long term. And, he could easily have just been a pretty good Super Rugby player, but great All Black because of up here.